If you don't know how to make one of these, you will now because they are so easy, my friends. So here's the one I'm wearing, right? Here's another one I made, right? Just the straight purple beads. Okay, that's how that one looks. And then here's one that's also asymmetrical. So I've got this gorgeous royal blue and that gorgeous lavender on the other side. All three of these are 8mm beads. So these are 8mm rondelles. These are both 8mm rondelles. And in the center, these are 8mm glass rounds. Okay? So there's a lot of fun you can have with these. But this is what we're going for. Okay? So I will go ahead and leave those in camera for you. Maybe that will help. By the way, did you guys notice that we have Elf now? Oh, let me pull him in. He was off camera. My adorable niece got me, I don't even have a snow globe, guys. Can you believe? Is this insane? It's Elf. It's a snow globe. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. Anyway, she gave me this adorable, and thank you, sweetheart. So thoughtful of you. I love this. And he's been sitting here. Maybe you've been noticing the last week or so. He'll be sitting here through the end of the year. So we, you know what? He's quality control, guys. Okay. Oh my gosh, excuse me, I cannot. I'm too silly. And again, guys, another silly day, but you know what? I'll take it. So I'm going to lean up these bracelets against Mr. Elf looking over our projects in QC so that you can kind of still see him a little bit there. I don't need much mat room, so you can kind of get an idea where we're going. Guys, this is so easy. So I've already done one. So let me walk you through it. All you're going to need, friends, is some beads. You can use any beads you want. And then we will need 2 pieces of memory wire, okay? And then we're going to be using some craft wire. Now, we've got some play with the gauge here. I'm going to be using 26 gauge today in black. This should be really cool. It's going to be like a tuxedo, right? So I'm using 26 gauge. You can use 24 and you can use 22. This one I'm wearing is 22 gauge wire. Okay? This one is 24 gauge. And you can't even tell a difference, you guys. It's just whatever. So I think you can do 22, 24, 26 gauge, something like that. A little flexibility there and have some fun with it. So mix up your colors. Here you go, guys. And so here's another thing. We're getting into trends, right? Going into 2025. Stacking, and more stacking, and bangles. Well, this is right up that alley. And put our beads on. But when you start, we're going to go ahead and cut both pieces of our wire, memory wire, exactly the same size. Okay? So that's step 1. Step 2 is we are going to, on one side, just roll in a simple loop. Now, I like to roll my loops in towards the bead and up. Some people like to roll them down, but I find that to poke my wrist, so I don't like to do that. So I roll my loops up and towards the bead, just simple loop, okay? Just like I've done on this one. In fact, this one I did double loops, okay? So that's how we're going to get it started once we've got it cut. So just grab your round nose or your 6-step. Gypsy, oh my goodness. And we're going to roll this on, right, until that touches the inside of the other piece of the memory wire. Just like that. Okay, let me get you pulled down now for the rest of the project so you can see what I did. And it's still open a little bit, so I'll put my pliers on. And I'm going to push that forward a little bit more, and there we go. You can really have fun with these. Yeah, bangles, guys, are going to be trending really big in 2025. And so we're going to get started right down with our version of a bangle. I've got 12 on each side. Now I'm going to do the same thing, guys. We're going to go right to the end of that memory wire. Make sure there's nothing sticking out the top of your plier. Okay, go right as to the end as you can to grab your memory wire. And we are going to roll in a simple loop until we stop at the bead. And just keep adjusting your pliers if you need to. And yeah, see, this one is wanting to go in kind of almost 1.5 times. Yeah, it did. And so let me see if I can get this one kind of matched up a little better. Although it doesn't really matter because it's a sample. But there we go. Okay? That's what we've got. So now we have both of our bracelets. Now to go ahead and start, I'm going to work right off the spool. Okay? And my wire is a smidge kinky if I'm telling you the truth. But that's okay. We'll work with it. Okay, guys, so working off the spool is a great idea, by the way, because it helps from wire obviously flinging all over the place. So here's what we do to get it started. We're going to go ahead. We need to anchor a wire on one of the bracelets. So what I like to do is I like to go ahead and feed my wire through, okay? And I'm just going to go ahead, hold what is on my spool here. I'm going to take this small wire and I am going to go ahead and wrap it around my loop here, between my loop and my bead, as you can see. Let me grab my pliers. Okay, and I'm going to wrap it around, 4 or 5 times. You see how I'm wrapping it right there between my loop and my bead. So I'm then laying my wraps right there. And we just want to do that just to establish our anchoring. Okay? And then I'll go ahead and trim that off. We'll trim off that tail. So now our wire is anchored. And we do want to make sure that we tuck that burr in. Perfect. Okay? So now we have our wired anchored on the bracelet. So now we're going to put both bracelets together, and this is where it's going to get tricky for a minute and a little fidgety, but guys, it's actually super, super simple. Okay, but until we start to really establish our wraps, this is going to want to, these 2 bracelets, guys, they're going to want to start to go like this on you, right? So that's really the best tip I can give you, is try to just kind of go slow and hold them as close to next to each other like this as you can. Now they are going to move slightly, and that's okay, as you've seen mine absolutely did, right? You see how mine, this purple one, how each end is a little bit different? It's okay. It's not a crime. But we want to try to establish this as best as we can. So just know that it's going to want to start to, move on you to where, one strand is going completely lopsided than the other. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to just simply wrap around both bracelets, guys, okay? So like I said, I'm going to work right off the spool. So we're going to always go up and over. So we've started with the bracelet closest to us where we just anchored the wire. And we are going to go and try to line these up and hold them close as we can. And again, it's going to be fidgety for a second until we get our wraps established. And notice how I went from here in between the first 2 beads, almost on an angle. Yeah, we come straight down, and then we're going to go on an angle and come straight down. You see what I mean? My bracelet's already wanting to move all over, okay? So now we came straight down. We're going to go on an angle over there. And I'm pulling the wire really tight, guys. Every time I'm putting a wrap on, I'm pulling the wire tight. We come down off that angle, and now we go over. And now I come down and go over. Down and over. Okay, I'm going to stop right there and see I'm doing okay. All right, everything's in place. That's good. Also notice, guys, can you see that? How mine's not quite even right here? So you can do this as you move along, guys. It's kind of a cool idea, is just push it back down together to where they're laying flat. One's not up higher than the other, because that's what it's going to want to do is we go around with the wire. Okay, so now we're back down, and then we're going to go in an angle. And I'm going to stop talking, because you're probably tired of hearing that, and you'll just watch me do it until we get all the way to the end. Cool. Okay, and now I'm at the end. Okay, it's off a little bit, but that's all right. And now we're at the end. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go right here on this end loop, And we are going to wrap this around twice. And again, try to get your wraps in between your loop and your bead. 1, 2. Okay, perfect. Now that's anchored. Now I'm going to go back the other direction, the opposite of what we just did. So now we're did our double loops there. So now in order to start, we're going to go right up between this first bead, and same thing, we're going to go on an angle, but we're going to come down. So it's creating this herringbone effect, right? Because we're laying the wire over the previous wire, but we're going the other direction. Hope that makes sense. And it's like makes this zigzag. So now I come to the bead. So now I'm going right next to that bead and then laying it down right there. And I'm coming up and then going on an angle, just like I did when I first started. Up and then on an angle. Diagonal to the next one, diagonal to the next one. This is how we do this easy, cool bracelet. Guys, is this the easiest thing? Look at that. You see what I'm doing there, right? So easy, you guys. And really cool. You guys can make so many of these. You can also, these would be great gifts. Put them under the tree. This is an ageless and a seasonless look, guys. So have fun with that. Okay, and now I'm at my 8 millimeters. So I gotta go over here and then down. And then the next one and down. And then the next one. Wait a minute, where am I? There, and then here and down. Okay, now I'm gonna turn my bracelet around. Okay, I'm gonna pull you guys up so you can really see. Okay, this last part here. And you see why working off the spool is so much easier, guys? So much easier. Okay, so that's where we just left off right there, right? So I go straight up and over. Up and then on a diagonal. Up, the bead next to it. Straight over, the bead next to it. Straight up, the bead next to it. And we're getting pretty close to the end here. So what we do is exactly what we did when we started. And I see I need to tuck that in just a smidge. Loosened up on me, I can fuss with that. At any rate, we are now at the last wrap, right? I went over those last 2 beads here. And we're gonna end this exactly the way we started it, guys. We're gonna anchor our wire around our loop, between our loop and our bead the best we can, 3, 4, 5 times, whatever you feel comfortable with, to make sure that it does not unwind. So now I'm coming up around this last bead, and now I'm on this outer strand, and I'm going to wrap that around that loop, between the loop and the bead right here. There's 1, and I'm pulling it tight. 2, 3, pulling it really tight. 4, 4, and 5. 4 was good. It's getting a little bulky there. Okay, and then we'll trim it in the, kind of like the side, back. I don't usually do the back, I do more the side, because when it's on the bracelet, I don't want, any possibility of like a pokey on my wrist. And then we just tuck that burr in. That's nice and snuggly. And let me fix this wire here. Okay, and there we go. That's what we have. I'll pull you way down so you can see what that looks like. So cool. Looks very similar to the one that I made. But even with the 26 gauge, over here's the 22 gauge. Look how cool that is. So pretty. And even on the 6 millimeters, it looks just beautiful. And it looks just like a tuxedo. Isn't that gorgeous? You could even do a cool focal bead here. There's just a lot of fun you can have with these. That's what that looks like, guys. Isn't that fun? I hope you guys enjoyed today's Tuesday tutorial. Tuesday. Boy, I'm just, it's the wind, guys. It's blowing right through me. The wind is getting so bad. Anyways, guys, there you go. And thank you for watching today's Tutorial Tuesday. We will see you guys tomorrow. And